name's Hugh Murthwaite. I run a company called Flow Motion Studios and I'm the creative director. So I started when I was probably about 18, 19. I first bought a camera, started doing some freelance work and then landed myself a job with a design agency. I then worked with them for about a year and then left that to become freelance. And then about 2.5, 3 years later, here we are with Flow Motion Studios. So my day-to-day tasks range a hell of a lot. So we could be doing emails and client meetings in the morning and then out on a shoot in the afternoon, and then the following day could be spent all day editing. It really ranges from what we're doing that certain week. We could be out 5 days a week filming, or we could be in 5 days a week editing. It really depends. So social home life balance is pretty good. So you have the option to remote work from home if you so choose to, or you can be in with the studio with us. You work kind of standard 9 till 5 days, and obviously days where everyone shoots where it might last a little bit longer. You can either take those extra hours out of your week next week or add that on to a commission structure that we have within the company. Yep, building relationships with clients is a huge thing for us. So we spend a lot of time communicating, planning, doing the shoot plans and all of that stuff with the clients directly. And then we also liaise with them through email, Zoom calls and general phone calls. So it's a big part of the job and it's something that can be really fun and engaging, particularly if we go out to lunch with the clients or something like that. So shift-wise, typically we're in the studio Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. Sometimes we'll be doing shoots on weekends. That gives you the option to earn extra commission if you want to take on that job, or you can take that day out from the following week or any other week that month you so choose. So you've got options to be flexible with your working schedule. So what do you need to know to be good at the role? So you can be starting from the real fundamentals of the creative industry, or you can be at a pro level. We work with all skill levels across the board. So you can be a T-level student that has just had an interest in videography, photography, and you want to take that further. We have the business line to nurture that interest into a pro level skill set. As well, with the pro levels, we work with industry leading pros across Devon and the UK to film weddings, drone services and marketing material. So with progression within the role, there's loads of things you can do. So in terms of editing, there is a whole step procedure of skill level that you can accomplish. We work within the wedding industry, marketing and events, so you can determine what skill level you want to achieve by what you're interested by most. Same goes for the filmmaking. You're able to film across all industries with that, and it's quite fun because you get to go out on locations and film stuff. But again, with that there comes the knowledge of the hardware we're using. So that can be anywhere to do with the gimbals, the lighting, the audio, or just the in-camera software that we're using. Same for the editing. So we use Apple computers to run the best programs that is possible. So we use Final Cut Pro. It's quite similar to Premiere Pro if you've used that before, but it's just a bit more of an efficient way to work, we find. And within that software itself, there's skill levels to which you can build up on and learn. And we have a really good kind of case study for learning with people. We teach students and we've worked with young people before. And it's just a really fun way to be able to learn on the job doing it. So in terms of training, it's all across the board. That's with the editing or the filming, photography or drone services. We work with companies like the CAA to be able to get you your drone license to be able to film with us. And the same goes for photography. We have an extensive knowledge with photography and the software that we use to create this. So with our members of the team that are expert level, they'll be able to show you everything from the basics right up until the very fine details of the software. I'll be able to teach you a lot in terms of certain rules, certain techniques that you use in filmmaking which might not be so apparent with photography. There's quite a lot of small detail that goes into it, but that's what makes things look so good. So I think in terms of training with the videography as well, it's a bit more intensive, but it's well worth the training. In terms of pay scale, it can vary quite a bit. So if you're a really experienced videographer that is coming into the company and bringing with you some clients or some work that you've done before that really stands out and warrants a higher pay scale, then we'll have that discussion with you and find out what it is that fits your needs and wants. Same goes for an intermediate beginner level. So if you're just starting out with videography and you're going to need that training and that path to teach you how to become that pro level, we'll start you off at a beginner's rate, and then as you train with us and as you progress through the role, you'll be able to go up that pay scale. And you know, if you're really good and really passionate about what you do, you can make that time scale even faster. Yeah, so with the roles and responsibilities, when you first join us, you'll be able to identify what it is that you like doing and what it is you want to passionately drive towards and what you're already got a good understanding with. And once we've established those points, we'll be able to know where and what direction you want to go in, and we'll help you to achieve that. Yeah, so with client relations, we typically have a management team that deals with that, but what we like to do is introduce our beginners into that part of the business because it's an integral part that we do. When people hire us for jobs, a part of what they're experiencing is us as people. So if you're someone that is sociable and likes to be a bit more outgoing, then client relations is definitely a path for you to go down, and we'll help you to train that. And vice versa, if that's not something you want to engage with too much, perhaps you're more aligned with doing the editing and getting your head into the software and the programs, and perhaps that's where you're more comfortable. Yeah, so with shadowing and mentoring, typically what we do is that first week that you work with us, you'll be shadowing one of us in the software, and you'll be able to pick it all up in terms of the videography, photography. And then out on the field learning, what we do is probably for about a month, you'll be, depending on your skill level, you'll be shadowing with one of the members of the team, learning how to use things like the gimbals, the telephocal lenses, and just some of the more technically challenging stuff. Once the training is complete, you'll be able to go out on your own to do jobs for us. Typically, you'll be in a team of 2, filming and photographing. This can be events or marketing content, and once that training's done, you're out there on the field doing the work. Yeah, so a general day's filming starts the day before. So we want to make sure that we've got our shoot plan done and ready, so you know what time certain things are happening and what you're expected to capture at that time. And also charging equipment, making sure your lenses are clean. Yeah, I think charging equipment's a really big one, because obviously when you've got drones, free cameras, monitors, gimbals, there's a lot to charge, right? So you want to make sure you've got your equipment checklist done. So this can range anywhere between make sure you've got the right tripods and the right tripod heads with you, to the gimbals, monitors, and the cameras. So what we do is we have a simple list, we stick it in our bag so that every time we go out to film, we go through that list, we make sure everything's there and charged. And it just makes it a bit more easier on the day that you know you've got everything and all you've got to do is the job at hand. Yeah, so the day-to-day run-ins of an event, they vary a lot. So typically with this kind of industry, having a shoot plan is great and amazing, but it doesn't always follow it. So what you've got to be prepared to do is use your own initiative to be able to act on an opportunity when it arises. So sometimes on our shoot plan, they could be having a speaker at 3 p.m, but the speaker doesn't turn up or is half an hour late. That's then 3:30, and then everything on your shoot plan has to jump forward half an hour. And you've got to be able to deal with that and be able to say, okay, well, that's fine. I just need to do this a bit sooner and I can move that a bit later. It's all about being flexible and using your initiative to overcome any challenges that happen on the day. Perks of the job, quite a few. Generally, not only is it just really fun being out on the day, but if it's a full day shoot, we usually get lunch and food catered for us. So if we're on a marketing job, they'll usually put on a spread with a catering company, or same with events, you'll be able to have a little drink and a bit of food with whatever event is going on. Yeah, so technology that we use. So we use a whole range of brands and cameras, lenses, the whole lot. So typically we shoot with Sony cameras. It's good to have Sony across the board of what we do because the color codecs are going to be the same, the file formats are going to be very similar, and it helps when we're all editing. We can all edit within the same kind of structure of content. So when you come and join us, we'll be able to give you a total run through of the cameras, how they operate. This will be a part of your training. And it's generally quite a fun part of it. Myself, I like to get a bit nerdy with it. I understand cameras pretty well. And if you have any interest in that, I'm sure I'll probably bore you to death talking to you about it. But it's a really integral part of the job. In terms of equipment, we use some of the industry leading tech. We then use the DJI brand for gimbals and drones. Now, this is across the board of the Mavic Pros and the Minis, and then we also use some FPV pilots who we outsource. And then that brings me on to audio. So something that can be quite challenging, but is really fundamental to what we do is sound, obviously. So having a good knowledge of the technology that we use in the hardware and then into the software, it's really crucial that you have an understanding of that to be able to produce good work. And then finally, it's the lighting. So we use a range of Godox brand, Neewer, to produce great lighting. This can be used for the LED panels or the softbox light that we're using to film this interview with. So having a basic understanding of that and then developing that as you learn within the company is something that we really value.